Hey guys, it's your friendly neighborhood physical therapist here. It's been a week since Pound Series 2016, so I wanted to do a bit of a retrospective on my experience at the event as a professional and as a fan of the scene, talking a little bit about what I did, what I learned, and what I'd like to do moving forward. So starting out, talking about some of the most common injuries that I saw for players. Interestingly, most of the chronic stress issues I saw were for amateur level players as opposed to pro level players. That's not terribly surprising given that for pros, their hands are their livelihood, hands and forearms and shoulders and backs, etc. And so, of course, along the way, they've picked up tips and tricks that work for them in order to protect those. And they probably networked with other higher level players to learn a bit about what works for them as well. So a lot of the most common things that I saw had to do with overuse and repetitive stress and not taking enough breaks, which led to a lot of discomfort in the forearm and in the palm. So the forearm back here houses your extensor muscles, both for your wrist and your fingers. So it makes a lot of sense if you're holding a controller like this for a while, you're going to end up with some pain in that area. Additionally, the tighter you grip, the more you're going to tighten up your entire forearm. Additionally, the pain in the thumbs here at the base of the thumb, this is called the thenar eminence. It contains a lot of your muscles that do things like this. So you can see why if you're playing like this constantly, you're going to end up with thumb pain as well. It was really interesting to see the difference between different character mains and what specific stresses they presented. So for example, Sheik mains had a lot of right thumb pain, but not a left thumb pain, which might be due to movement patterns. The Foxes, Falcos, and Captain Falcons all had lots of forearm pain, which might be due to grip, might be due to wave dashing, might be due to something I haven't figured out yet. So I look forward to continuing to look into that. And at some point in the relatively near future, I'd love to write main-specific ergonomic guides looking at if you're a Fox player, here's the specific stresses you're going to have, and here's how to deal with and or prevent injuries related to those. I'd also like to write a piece, probably a little bit sooner, in the next 1 to 2 weeks, about the potential role of physical therapists on site at tournaments. In part based on what I've learned, and in part based on what I know of my profession, ethically and medically. So one of the big limitations about having a physical therapist on site at tournaments is licensure. I'm licensed in the state of Virginia and West Virginia currently, which means that I can only act as an on-site PT in those two states because there's no reciprocal licensure. That is, no other state will recognize your license in another state and give you validity to practice in their specific state. So if I wanted to go to Xanadu, I would not be able to do it as a PT. I'd have to do it just as a fan of the scene, which is still fine. But I know after Pound, a lot of players were tweeting, hey, it'd be really awesome if we could have Dr. McGee out at the Smash Summit 2 to be on-site PT for that as well. And one, that would have thrown a big monkey wrench into the BTS plans, so that would have been a major scheduling issue for them, I'm sure. And two, I wouldn't be able to do it anyway because I'm not licensed in California. Getting licensure in another state is a minimum 2-month process that involves sending letters of good standing from your home practice state, sending a copy of your license, any complaints you've had against you, I have none, go me, and also taking potentially what's called a jurisprudence exam, which is basically to test your knowledge of the practice act of that state, because there's specific things that PTs are not allowed to do on a federal level, and then there's specific things that PTs can and cannot do by state. So for example, in the entirety of the US, PTs cannot prescribe medications and PTs cannot order medical imaging. However, some states allow PTs to do things like dry needling, which is similar to acupuncture, only with a slightly different anatomical basis, or to do things like grade 5 manipulations, which is somewhat similar to what you'd see a chiropractor do. However, not all states allow these things, so you have to demonstrate that you have familiarity with that state's practice act and the ability to conduct yourselves in the legally, medically, and ethically appropriate manner in that state. Speaking of legal and medical and ethical concerns, some of you may have noticed that there were some players on site that I treated hands-on, and there were some players that I just spoke to or consulted with. And that is twofold. One is, some players are under the age of 18, in which case I legally cannot treat you without a parent or guardian's consent. So for future tournaments, guys, please keep that in mind. Bring your parents with you, if only for that reason. Second thing, some players presented to me with injuries that it would be legally, medically, and ethically irresponsible of me to treat for only one day. Some of the things that I saw were chronic and long-term and require a long-term plan of care with follow-up that I'm not able to give. That's why you saw for some players that I was giving referrals to PTs near their home, or to specialized hand therapists near their home, as well as helping them figure out how to navigate direct access. Some states allow you to see a physical therapist for a certain period of time without a doctor's prescription. Not all states do, so you have to be able to know that ruling state to state, and that's something I can help out with. But it is very irresponsible of me to treat someone on site without the ability to follow up in the event of some more serious injuries. Additionally, anyone who came across my table/desk had to sign a medical waiver. This is partly a legal thing, and it's partly a making sure that I know the full story thing. You know, if you have a history of a hand fracture and you're coming to me with wrist pain, well, hey, those two things might be related, and I need to know that before I just go figuring out what's going on with you this specific day. That being said, it was very smoothly run overall. I think in large part because I had a very good assistant helping keep things on schedule, keeping track of when heat packs and ice packs were going in and out, making sure that the medical waivers were stored in a HIPAA compliant manner. HIPAA is it's a privacy act that makes sure that all medical information remains private. It's also why I spoke to anyone doing photojournalism before the event and asked them not to take pictures of players being treated without the players consenting. Because, hey, this is a private medical session, they get to choose that. I did learn quite a bit from this being my first tournament as the on-site PT. Some of it was stuff that I brought that I didn't need. Some of it was stuff that I didn't bring that I should have brought, like tennis balls, apparently. It was something I recommended to a lot of players in terms of the ability to roll out your own muscles when you don't have someone to do hand massage for you. So that's definitely something I'll be bringing to future tournaments. And I'm going to continue to reflect on my experience to figure out what can I do next time to make things more expedient, more efficient, more thorough, more practical. And I really welcome feedback on that. You know, were there things that I did that seemed unnecessary? Were there things that I didn't do that would have really helped you guys out? Tweet at me, send me an email, let me know. I'll include all my messaging information at the end of this. And I kind of wanted to wrap this up with a bit of a discussion on my personal experience, less of the professional experience. So this was, as I mentioned, my first event as an on-site PT. It was also my first LAN Smash event, which was pretty exciting for me, meeting players and commentators and TOs that, you know, I've followed in the scene for the past few years. I managed to not be too starstruck, I think, or at least if I was, I managed to not show it too much. But it's a really, really great experience to be able to meet these people that you've seen their work and you've respected and admired them for so long, and to be able to provide something that is valuable to them is really rewarding. I have to give a huge, huge amount of credit to the entire production and organization team because really it was absolutely fantastically run. Especially want to thank Nintendo Mike for doing such a great job of making sure that I was set up where I needed to be, helping me to kind of interface with the other players and the other organizers. It's really could not have gone smoother than it did, especially not without the amount of input you had. Also want to thank the players and the commentators for having so much interest in protecting their hands, their backs, their whatever injured body parts, and for recognizing the worth of ergonomics and injury prevention in the scene. And I want to thank the community at large. I have never, in all of the scenes that I play in or follow, had such a welcoming and friendly response. There was not one single person I met who was not, you know, willing to chat about the scene, willing to talk to me about things that I didn't fully understand about particular aspects of play, which, given that I'm really, really terrible at Smash, was very helpful. It was just, it's really easy to see why the Smash scene is undergoing the revitalization that it is when you've got a community that's so welcoming and so open and so willing to say to anyone who's interested in whatever branch of Smash they're interested in, hey, if you like it, you belong here too. You're our people. So moving forward, I really look forward to continuing to work with this scene. Can't wait to keep working with all of you all at future tournaments. Can't wait to keep taking questions on Twitter or by email, whatever's easier for people. And I really do welcome any feedback you guys have, both from the on-site experience and for what kind of content you're looking for, be it video guides to stretching or to good ergonomics, be it written guides. Heck, I can do both. So if you have suggestions in that regard, you can tweet at me at Lurkaderp, Lurkaderp. You can also email me, asklurkaderp@gmail.com. Guys, thank you once again for this really fantastic first experience. Can't wait to keep working together. And as always, ask me any questions you like because I want to help you all play more and hurt less.